I woke up this morning to the news that the aviation and automotive artist Roy Huxley passed away this week after a brief illness. Roy was, of course, the artist who created most of the paintings used by Matchbox as box art, and his artworks were an integral part of what made Matchbox kits so exciting. Roy was born in Bedfordshire in 1940. He left school aged 17 and pursued a career as an artist. Initially working for an art firm to produce artworks for automotive companies, he set out on his own in 1969. He was then uniquely positioned to have his skills recognised, and he was snapped up to produce paintings for the new Matchbox model aircraft range. Roy ended up producing artworks for Matchbox for close to 20 years, and his box art is the stuff of legends. I thought it might be good to pause and reflect on Roy's passing, thinking of the joy that his artworks brought to so many of us over the years. There is nothing like seeing a new Matchbox model aeroplane kit, the box art telling a story of excitement and adventure. And so we might have a look at some of his works in their natural habitat, on the boxes that contain the goodies within, to create an artwork of our own. So let's have a look at some favourites. I'm focusing mainly on the original 1970s artworks here. Roy was disappointed when, in the late 70s and into the 80s, Matchbox called him to revise his works. He was asked to sanitise the art, to remove the excitement, the aircraft going down in flames, dropping bombs, attacking ships, air and land targets. These and some of the other changes that Roy had to make disappointed him, but that doesn't take away from the fact that he produced great artworks right until the end of his time with Matchbox. So we honour Roy today. We thank him for the works that he did. We think of his family and the people close to him at this time. Looking at the purple range, the smallest of the kits, there's a lot going on here. Formation of Mustangs taking off, the main one tucking its undercarriage up as they head out. Then look at the great work done to reproduce the polished engine cowlings and how that's different from the doped and painted silver cloth surfaces on this Fury. A Hellcat towards the end of the war here, with what looks like a kamikaze heading in that direction. A lot going on. And a Pearl Harbor scene. On the more recent topics, a couple of Royal Canadian Air Force starfighters. Really good work. Even a pedestrian training scene from the 1950s has a lot going on. And I'll keep working through them without any commentary. Here we see a slightly sanitised Messerschmitt 262 heading through a formation of B-17s. The original work had strings of bombs being dropped from these aircraft, and there was another B-17 here going down in flames. This was the first revision. And then looking at the 80s ones, we see the second revision, just the aeroplane. While the excitement may be gone, the technical value and the great quality is plain to see. This 80s revision doesn't have the other aircraft taking off, but it still really tells a story. Another revised, sanitised one, but still a nice piece of work. And again, enough of my commentary. Although I will note the difference between this version and the slightly retooled version with the new artwork. showing that you could show an aeroplane taking off in the desert with dust, sand, and it really brings it to life. I do remember this one when the Falklands War broke out. It was fascinating to see have the ability to get a model that was in the news. Thanks for the memories, Roy. Now we look at some of the orange range. And looking at some of the red range, we see this incredible artwork continue. This is one of my favourites. It really sums up the excitement, the tragedy, all of those things encapsulated in this artwork that Roy Huxley gave us. Incredible stuff. And here we have the brown range. It's interesting to compare some of the slight changes between this version and the 80s version which followed. Now I think this might be the biggest of the 1/72nd boxes that Matchbox made, and again, really is something to see.